Here is your chance to be part of the new game show, AI, all included. Here's your chance to be part of the new game show, AI, all included.
Good evening to everyone, and thank you for joining us for this evening's Barbados Olympic Association Women in Sports Commission Esther Maynard Icon Award ceremony. Following last launch of this award, we are here in a virtual setting for the 2021 presentation. Now, we will be having a question and answer segment later featuring our esteemed awardee. So we invite you to use the Q&A feature to pose any questions or offer any congratulatory messages that you might have at that time. We now formally begin this evening's proceedings. Honorable Dwight Sutherland, Minister of Sports, Youth and Community Empowerment. Honorable Cynthia Ford, Minister of People Empowerment and Elder Affairs. Mrs. Sandra Osborne, President of the Barbados Olympic Association. Mrs. Patricia Boyce, Director of the Gender of Bureau Affairs. Mr. Neil Murrell, Director of the National Sports Council. Mrs. Esther Maynard, former BOA board member, in whose honor this award is named. Our guest of honor this evening, Mrs. Kathy Harper Hall, and members of her family. Members of the board of the Barbados Olympic Association, Mrs. Tanya Wiggins, Chair of the Women in Sports Commission, management and staff of the BOA, members of the media, specially invited guests, ladies and gentlemen joining us on Zoom or on YouTube or Facebook. Good evening and welcome to this presentation of the Barbados Olympic Association's Women in Sport Commission Esther Maynard Icon Award for 2021. I am Marcia Boyce and I will be your Master of Ceremonies this evening. Now, this evening's event is quite fitting as we come to the close of the month of March, which is celebrated as Women's History Month. And there is no better time to celebrate a female pioneer in Mrs. Kathy Harper Hall and her remarkable impact on sport at the local, regional, and international level. But first, to give the official welcome and her opening remarks, here is Chair of the Women in Sports Commission, Ms. Itanya Wiggins.
Thank you very much, Marcia. Good evening and welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining us this evening from the comfort of your Zoom squares for the Esther Maynard Icon Award ceremony. The Women in Sport Commission was established to advise our executive board on the development and implementation of women and sport policy, with a clear mandate to promote equal opportunities for girls and women to participate in and benefit from sport and physical activity. The establishment of this Icon Award in 2020 is eponymous to the first female elected to our executive board in 1982, a true pioneer who became the first chair of the Women in Sport Commission in 1997. The Esther Maynard Icon Award represents opportunity, recognition, and empowerment. It highlights role models and change agents in the pursuit of gender equality and will be bestowed annually to women, men, or organizations who've made remarkable contributions to the development, encouragement, and reinforcement of women and girls' participation in sport. Tonight's celebration, inspired by this year's Commonwealth Day and International Women's Day theme, She Leads the Way, is fitting, as it epitomizes this evening's awardee, Ms. Kathy Harper Hall. Leadership is not a person or a position. It is a complex moral relationship between people based on trust, obligation, commitment, emotion, and a shared vision of good. It is about making others better as a result of your presence and making sure that impact lasts in your absence. The creativity and determination of tonight's awardee is an inspiration for us all. She has genuinely led the way. The Women in Sport Commission is committed to continuing the legacy set by our matriarchs, Ms. Esther Maynard and Ms. Kathy Harper Hall, by transforming sport for the benefit of every woman and girl in Barbados. By drawing on our unique insights, we will continue to champion every woman and girl's right to participate in and benefit from sports in a safe and healthy environment. From the field of play to the boardroom, from early years and throughout their lives. One of our strategic goals is for more women to work in sport and be fairly represented at the leadership level by building a pipeline of women who would potentially move into leadership roles. Our awardees' accomplishment challenges each of us to reflect on how we can do more for the sustainable development of sport of our women and young girls. May the commitment and resolve of our awardee, Ms. Kathy Harper Hall, be an inspiration for us to act. Finally, it's my pleasure to once again congratulate our recipient of this year's Esther Maynard Icon Award, Ms. Kathy Harper Hall. On behalf of the Women and Sport Commission, we salute and congratulate you. Thank you for inspiring us all.
Thank you very much, Itanya. As we look ahead to this year's staging of the Olympic Games in Tokyo, we welcome the news that the edition of the global showpiece is being considered as the first gender-equal games. As gender parity remains high on the agenda of the Olympic movement, we here in Barbados are pleased to be one of the few national Olympic committees to be headed by a female. Ladies and gentlemen, join me in welcoming the president of the Barbados Olympic Association, Mrs. Sandra Osborne.
Good evening, dear friends in sport, and welcome to everyone. I wish especially to recognize the Honourable Ms. Cynthia Ford, Minister of People Empowerment and Elder Affairs, the Honourable Mr. Dwight Sutherland, Minister of Youth, Sports and Community Empowerment, Mrs. Patricia Boyce, Director, Bureau of Gender Affairs, Mr. Neil Murrell, Director, National Sports Council, Mr. Stephen Rowe, Sport Development Officer, Ministry of Youth, Sports and Community Empowerment, Mrs. Esther Maynard, our icon, in whose honor this award was created in 2020, and this year's icon awardee, Mrs. Kathy Harper Hall. Almost everyone is familiar with the famous words spoken by the late Nelson Mandela at an awards ceremony in 2000, and I quote, "Sport has the power to change the world. It has the power to inspire. It has the power to unite people in a way that little else does. It speaks to youth in a language they understand. Sport can create hope where once there was despair. It is more powerful than governments in breaking down racial barriers. It laughs in the face of all types of discrimination." End of quote. And we can easily add social barriers to racial barriers. While this part of his speech is very well known, what follows is less so. Mandela continues, "The heroes standing with me are examples of this power. They are valiant not only on the playing field, but also in the community, both local and international. They are champions, and they deserve the world's recognition." And that, my friends, is why we are here this evening. These words are the reason why sport remains one of the most powerful platforms for promoting not only women and girls, but for empowering young people in general. This is why we must celebrate our sports icons, regardless of gender, and at the same time, especially because of gender. We must celebrate and share the stories of these iconic sports figures, those whose contributions have in multiple ways uplifted so many girls and boys and so many young and not so young people. Last year, when we launched this award by honoring Esther Maynard, I talked about Esther as a larger-than-life figure, playing a pivotal role in sport and education, making her mark locally, regionally, and internationally in multiple capacities. This year's awardee, Kathy Harper Hall, is equally iconic in the world of sport and education, standing tall next to Esther, and a very worthy recipient. We will hear shortly about her energy, love of service, and her never-ending and selfless contribution to sport. But for many of us, Mrs. Harper Hall does not just represent a sports person, for she, more than maybe anyone else I know, has used sport as an enabler to positively impact many lives in lasting and life-changing ways, not only as a mother, but as a mother figure, a teacher, an athlete, and a sport administrator of multiple sports. And so, Kathy Harper Hall epitomizes what this award is intended to represent: the aspirations of all those who use sport to transform lives, and by their actions to embrace the power of sport to change Barbados and to change the world. The Barbados Olympic Association's Women in Sport Commission is to be commended for creating this important award, which gives us an opportunity every year to celebrate excellence and to focus on the story of a sport icon. We all look forward to hearing her story. I thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Osborne. The presentation of the Esther Maynard Icon Award forms part of the Women in Sports Commission celebrations for International Women's Day, which carried the theme Choose to Challenge this year. Now, I am sure our esteemed awardee, Mrs. Kathy Harper Hall, has embodied this phrase, having challenged the status quo many times throughout her journey. This evening, we get a glimpse of that journey through the eyes of others.
It is my pleasure to make this tribute to my very good friend, Kathy Harper Hall, on the occasion of the presentation of the Esther Maynard Icon Award for Women in Sport. Kathy has spent the last 50 years of her life in Barbados, and during that time, she's devoted her life to education and sport in many, many different areas of involvement. Whether it was in her long career of teaching and coaching or involved in sports administration at many levels, locally and internationally, she brings to each topic or area the same commitment and dedication. It would take me a couple of hours to sum up Kathy's contribution and achievements. However, my focus is on Kathy's outstanding contribution to development of young women in sport. Her positive influence on the thousands of young people over the past 50 years is a sterling contribution to the development of young women in sport. Her positive influence of these young women from her early days of teaching at the Allen School and the St. Lucie Secondary School, it was so easy to see the positive changes in the young girls and teenagers we interacted. In addition to teaching, Kathy was a driving force in the United Athletic Club, which was involved with athletics and netball. Kathy was able to mold players into a competent, disciplined, and cohesive team, using the game of netball to develop confidence and leadership skills in many of the girls she coached. Someone with Kathy's wide range of abilities would not stay within a single school or a club. She was the driving force behind the formation of the All-Girls School Athletic Championships, putting an end to the separation of the grammar school and newer schools for athletic competition. She was the competition director for these championships for the years that the organization was in existence. She joined the National Sports Council in 1978 and remained on the staff for 28 years. She rose through the ranks to the position of Assistant Director of Sport with the responsibility for the supervision of 40 coaches. She acted as Director of Sport from 1996 to 1998. Kathy has given yeoman service to 3 national sporting organizations in Barbados: the Athletics Association of Barbados, the Barbados Netball Association, and the Barbados Boxing Association. Her involvement in boxing and netball has led her to holding various posts regionally and hemispherically on bodies of both sport. Her list of current involvements has at least 12 functions or posts that she holds. She holds posts within the Barbados Boxing Association and the Caribbean Boxing Association. She's a regional coordinator for the Caribbean Healthy Lifestyles Program. Membership of the Barbados Netball Association and the Education Committee of the Barbados Netball Association Umpires Association is another area that she is involved in. She's a certified trainer and tester of netball umpires for the American region. She's a member of the tournament committee for the Americas Federation of Netball Associations and the Caribbean Netball Association. She's the coordinator of the Barbados Inter-Alumni Association Athletics Championships. Kathy is a national senior athlete, successfully representing Barbados regionally and at the World Championships for Senior Athletics since 2003. She's been retired for the past 23 years, but describes herself as a professional volunteer, enjoying every moment spent with the youth of the Caribbean. Loyalty, dedication, and commitment are hallmarks of her personality. Her personal philosophy is, the joy of living is the art of giving. Kathy has certainly lived her philosophy. Her house has always had a revolving door through which many have passed over the years and found a place to call a second home. The Esther Maynard Icon Award for Women in Sport could not be presented to a more outstanding and deserving recipient. I make no hesitation in saying so, as Kathy and I have not only been friends for almost 50 years, but co-workers on many projects. I will now, on a lighter note, for as long as we have known each other, literally thousands of Barbadians have called Kathy Esther Maynard and called me Kathy Harper Hall. When told the correct name, the reply is always the same, but you look alike.
Harper Hall, as she is popularly called, took up residence in Barbados from Jamaica in 1970. She is still with us. She started her organizing and administrative career in netball as an official of the Barbados Netball Board of Control in QuickTime, 1972. She was a member of the newly formed Barbados Netball Association from its inception in 1975. During these periods, Kathy demonstrated an uncanny ability to organize any and everything. It was also obvious that she was about more than the sport itself. Therefore, another nickname, Mums, Kathy got. Kathy took a personal interest in several persons with whom she came into contact and helped them through many challenges. Hence, she gets many invitations to weddings and housewarming, birthdays and baby showers and so on. Kathy was organizing things from as young as 7, I'm told, and she built up a formidable record of starting, running, and inventing all types of procedures and different levels of training for all categories of persons involved in the sport. Wherever she envisaged that there was a need, Kathy systematically led a group assembled by her to tackle and fix the problem, be it coaching, umpiring, administration, or just plain coping with life challenges. Kathy is for record keeping of every type: game scores, number and names of teams, number and names of players, number and names of participants, names of administrators. And since she became a star athlete at the senior games, of course, you have to add times and distances. A reservoir of knowledge she shares as the need arises. Kathy believes that it's important that the sport develops in all aspects. She paid particular attention to games officials. As a member of the Caribbean Netball Association's executive, she was president for 20 years, from 1996 to 2016. She sought out and organized workshops, seminars, and practical sessions for umpires, coaches, managers, administrators, up to the highest level. Kathy has the ability to solve what appears to be confusion into a well-structured fixture with a minimum of heartache. Her penchant for putting things in writing has been responsible for most Caribbean netball associations having a structure, that is, a constitution or plain rules, and in the last 10 years, codes of conduct and for players and officials. Along with this type of contribution to her sport, netball, as a trainer and administrator, she also took time to assist personal development of the players. She runs many youth programs in those areas, culminating in the Sports for Life program and the Caribbean Healthy Lifestyle program. One thing though, before I go, Harper Hall is a stickler for punctuality, timing, and writing down things. So I'm sure I'm going to get a call to email this short CV to her. Well done, Kathy Harper Hall, on a sterling contribution to the development and progress of the sport of netball locally and regionally.
Mrs. Kathy Harper Hall, former Assistant Director of Sport and Acting Director of Sport, retired from the National Sports Council about a year and a half before I entered. Her name and her exemplary exploits at the council still loom large and is still spoken about even after she left. And I really got to understand why when I subsequently worked with her through the Caribbean Sport Development Program, through the Caribbean Healthy Lifestyle Program, and as a peerless administrator for the Caribbean and Barbados Netball Association, as well as the Barbados Boxing Association and Caribbean Boxing Association, where she served in various capacities in what seemed like a lifetime for over 40 years. I had, and still have, mind you, the ringside seat to her work. Precise, an eye for detail, passionate, and above all, a compassion for athletes and an indomitable spirit in pursuing excellence in her sport. On behalf of the board and staff of the National Sports Council and my own family, I congratulate Mrs. Harper Hall as the recipient, the first recipient of this inaugural Esther Maynard Icon Award. It really could not have gone to a more deserving person. Once again, congratulations, Mrs. Harper Hall. Well done.
I became related with Miss Kathy Harper Hall when I spent almost all my teenage years under her guidance. I, like many other young people, had the privilege of her doors being open when seeking a place to call home. From that time, I've always been impressed by her lifelong commitment to staying fit, which indeed has prolonged her life and her looks. I know Miss Kathy Harper Hall has acted as an inspiration for several generations towards encouraging women in sport, girls in sport, and overall the upbringing and upkeeping of sports administrative work in Barbados and the region. Her lifelong commitment has inspired generations to keep staying fit through all stages of life. People have seen her almost every arena in Barbados, no doubt, capturing regional and international medals. Personally, I have seen many of those medals, and to this day, I always tell my friends, my grandmother will always out-medal me. As we celebrate you, Mom, and I dare speak perfect English in your presence, I wish you continued success, continued drive, and continued health. It is my pleasure to join with others in congratulating you on achieving the Esther Maynard Icon Award from the Women's in Sport Commission. Congratulations, Mom.
Pleasant good evening to one and all. Thank you so much for even allowing me or granting me the opportunity to introduce the nominee for the Esther Maynard Icons Award. First of all, the word icon, is perfect for the individual, for the queen that will be receiving it. This marvelous lady has made a major impact to the world of sports, dedicating and giving nothing less than 100% of herself each and every time to whatever demand. She is so well-rounded, and I cannot even be half of the lady that she is. She's a miraculous athlete to this day. and a great mentor and idol to each and every female that is involved in sports. I cannot thank her. I cannot thank you enough for all the help and motivation and guidance and, of course, discipline. Of course, discipline. She makes no joke. Everything together shaped me into what I've become, and I'm sure that without you, I don't think I'll even be here. Kimberly Giddens would not be here. And I know there are so many others that can resonate and with the way how I feel. 2 minutes is not long enough for me to really express like my gratitude and tell you about all of her great achievements. So without further ado, it gives me great pleasure to introduce the nominee for the Esther Maynard Icons Award, the Mother of Caribbean Boxing, Miss Kathy Harper Hall.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mrs. Kathy Harper Hall, the 2021 recipient of the Esther Maynard Icon Award. Now, this award recognizes and acknowledges Mrs. Harper Hall for her outstanding vision, dedication, and commitment to being a pioneer for women in sport. Now, as you heard in those glowing tributes, she has broken several barriers, both as an athlete and as an administrator, leaving a legacy in various sports, including boxing, netball, and track and field. Now, she's still a senior athlete at the age of 82, and among her most memorable moments was winning her first World Senior Games medal in Utah with an injured knee. Now, I'm sure I could never dream of accomplishing that feat. But ladies and gentlemen, there's so much more we could say about Mrs. Harper Hall, but this evening would not be complete without hearing from the lady of the hour herself. We now hear from the 2021 recipient, Mrs. Kathy Harper Hall.
Good evening to everyone. It is with sincere gratitude and great humility that I accept this award from the Barbados Olympic Association through the inspiration of the Women in Sport Commission. At the tender age of 7 years, when I started to arrange races among my Sunday school peers to see who could get from the bottom of the road to the top of the hill where the church was located, little did I know that I was starting my career in the field of sport. As I moved from primary school to secondary school to teachers training college, my career ambition had always been to be a mathematics teacher. However, that idea changed when the physical education tutor at the training college encouraged me to switch to physical education. I guess that she saw something in me that at that time I had not seen in myself. Given that by that time I was somewhat of an accomplished track and field athlete, I readily accepted the advice, continued further training in that field, and spent 19 years as a physical education teacher in one school in Jamaica and 2 schools in Barbados, before moving on to sports administration as a new career choice. Prior to that, sports administration was more of a hobby, and I was heavily involved as a volunteer. Getting involved in physical education automatically got me involved not only in several different sports, but deeply involved in sport management and sport administration. Throughout the over 6 decades that I have been involved in sport, I have never at any time considered that I could or would have ever been classified as an icon. However, my contributions have been recognized by several organizations and individuals, and I have received several awards, medals, and other tokens of appreciation, both locally and regionally. I consider today's award extra special because of the person in whose name it is being awarded. I do not know how many persons who are present at this ceremony today are aware that over 2/3 of the population of Barbados still do not know the difference between Esther Maynard and Kathy Harper Hall. Some of the experiences of the mix-up are uncanny. We experience them inside and outside of Barbados. Neither of us would be able to remember the number of times that we experienced that mystery. But each time we took it in stride and moved on. The latest was when we went to get our vaccines a few weeks ago. Throughout the entire process at the polyclinic, I was being called Mrs. Maynard. And throughout Esther's experience at the drive-in, she was being called Mrs. Harper Hall. Afterwards, we joked about it and agreed that we had received each other's vaccines. In closing, let me say thanks to all those who came out today to support me by attending this ceremony. These include my family members and members of the Caribbean Netball family. I must also say thanks to Ms. Titania Wiggins, who guided me through the journey from the day I was informed that I would have been the awardee until today, and to the members of the team who worked with her to plan the event. Special thanks is extended to the Barbados Olympic Association, and in particular to the Women in Sport Commission, for considering me as the first recipient of the Esther Maynard Icon Award. I consider this an honor and a privilege, and I will treasure the award, while today's ceremony will remain for me a never to be forgotten experience. Once again, thanks to all those persons who made today's event possible and special, and I trust that I have been able to inspire other women, especially the younger ones, to get actively involved in sports. Sports light up my life, and I'm sure it can light up yours. The Esther Maynard Trophy. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Harper Hall. A beautiful trophy there indeed. And I know all of you sharing with us this evening may want the opportunity to offer your own congratulatory messages or pose a question to Mrs. Harper Hall about her journey. So you can do that now by using the Q&A feature on Zoom, and we will share your questions and comments as time permits. However, I'm the MC, and as MC, I'm going to take the liberty to offer my congratulations first, as well as ask the first question. So Mrs. Harper Hall, once again, a heartiest congratulations to you. Now, in light of everything that you have achieved, what advice would you have to any young women out there who are looking to make their mark in sports administration in what is still seen as a relatively male-dominated space? What advice would you have for them?
I would say to them, get involved in sports, not just to receive, but to give, because it is by giving that you receive. There is future in sports for anyone who wishes to choose one of the many careers that sports offer. So it's not just sport administration. These careers include professional athletes, physical education teachers, sports administrators, doctor of sports medicine, physical therapists, foot physiotherapists, personal trainers, sports journalism, sports lawyers, sports development officers, you choose. All you have to do is to channel your energies into a preferred area and start by volunteering your services to a sport of choice. You would be amazed at the benefits that can be derived. And in the field of sport administration, I do not consider myself a woman sport administrator. I consider myself a sports administrator. I do not think of myself as a woman when I'm doing it. I'm thinking of myself as a sport administrator. And I would encourage young women, when you're getting involved in it, don't just see yourself as women, just get in there and do it. You will find that there are rewards, there are benefits. A lot of people believe that sports administrators get opportunities to get on a plane and travel, etc. It is not about that at all. It is about what you can offer, what you can give to young people, and the contributions that you can make.
And I'm sure you would have had many mentors along the way on your journey. What impact did some of these mentors have on your life?
Okay, in Jamaica, my first mentor was my mother. She was an amazing person. And so she was my first mentor. And then the late Leela Robinson, who actually got me involved in netball and encouraged me to not just be a coach, a netball coach, but also be an umpire and to be an administrator. And in Barbados, Dr. Ronald Wilson, who encouraged me to stay in boxing, Dame Elsie Payne, who, although she was at Queen's College and I was at the Allen School and I was at St. Lucie Secondary School, she was there for me. She was my mentor. And of course, the principal of the now Darrell Jordan Secondary School, which was St. Lucie Secondary School, Darrell Jordan. Those are the persons who have been my mentors. And of course, you may not believe this, but my current mentor is my daughter, Marlene. I depend on her so much now. The tables have turned and reversed. These people have had significant impact on my life. They have shown me the importance of giving. They have shown me the importance of hard work and dedication and what the result of your contribution. And most importantly, they have shown me that all choices have consequences and that you should learn to live with the consequences of your choices.
Well, we have several congratulatory messages coming in already. Firstly, from Lorene Bannister Roberts in Dominica, dear Mrs. Harper Hall, huge congratulations to you on this recognition, well deserved. So very proud of you from your dear friend. Also from Olympian Frida Nichols, congratulations, Kathy Harper Hall, on this deserved award. Truly a fitting recognition of your decades of contribution and involvement in sports at all levels. And your fellow netball colleague, Miss Marva Barnard, congratulations, Kathy, well deserved. Remember, you can drop your congratulatory messages in the chat, as well as put forward any question you might want to ask Mrs. Harper Hall at this time. Roseanne Ford says, congratulations on a well-deserved award, Kathy. You've paved the way for many of us who have chosen sports management and administration across Barbados and the Caribbean. Now, Mrs. Harper Hall, a question here to you. What keeps you going at 82 years old? What keeps you committed to sport?
I think my love for the young people, my love for the youth. That is what keeps me going. The youth is there. They're not going anywhere. Every day you have a new set of them. And because helping young people is my first love, I know that I have to learn to live in their world. They would not understand my world, so I have to learn to live in their world. And so I make myself available to them, and I learn from them, and I learn to exist in the world in which they live, and that keeps me going. In addition to that, I just love to run. I just love to run. And because of that, I keep on doing my training. I train 3 mornings a week, and even COVID never stopped me. When I couldn't go out, I would train in my yard. But I kept going, and I believe in acting, in aging actively. So I stay that way. And my 83rd birthday is coming up in another 3 months, and I'm not feeling 83 yet. I'm just not feeling it yet. I don't know if when I actually get to 83, I will feel 83, but I'm not feeling it yet. But I keep going, as I said, mainly because of the love I have for the youth. At the moment, I am involved in the Sport for Life program, and that I work with children between the ages of 12 and 15. And it's really a pleasure to work with those children, to listen to them, to listen to the challenges that they are facing in their lives, especially the challenges that COVID-19 has placed on them. And it is amazing, some of the things that happen in these children's lives that even their very parents don't know about, and they will talk to us about it. So that really keeps me going.
And as a follow-up to that question, we have a congratulatory message and a question coming in from Melissa Branford Jones. Thank you, Mrs. Harper Hall. Congratulations. And as a past sportswoman and now finding myself in sport administration, I'm curious to find out how you find time to achieve so much in 24 hours. Can you give us a rundown of what your typical day looks like?
Oh my goodness. My typical day. Okay. On the mornings when I train, my training time starts at 5:30. And so with not being able to get out until 6, I would do what I have to do at home, do my warm up and do my, do my stretches and so on at 5:30 and then get out and run. So and between 6 at 5:30 and 7 o'clock, I am doing my training. Then I have my breakfast. And after that, I like to go and lie down for a while. And I would spend about an hour, just relaxing. And then I would get on my computer and I would work on my computer on boxing, on netball, on athletic, what my senior games work. I would do my sport for life work, whatever I have to do, but I would be on that computer sometimes almost all day with only a break to go and get myself something to eat. I find that people talk about being bored, and especially through COVID times. I have had no time to be bored. When I'm not working on the computer, I play a lot of video games. And I love music, and I play a lot. I would put my headphones on, and I will listen to my music. So my day is I'm always occupied. And Dr. Bramford Jones, you would know, because sometimes at 11 o'clock or sometimes midnight, we are talking on the phone. So I'm always asked you at the same time if you don't sleep. So, one of my typical days is a day of work. I sleep a lot, though. I like to sleep. And I have this thing about me that whenever I hit my bed, I fall asleep. So I ensure that despite all the work that I'm doing, that I get adequate amount of sleep.
Some good advice there. More congratulatory messages coming in from Dr. Adrian Lord. Congratulations, Kathy, on this award, quite deservedly. And of course, the netball family is represented. We have President of the Barbados Netball Association, Nisha Cragwell. Time would not permit her to truly explain how deserving of this award you are, but she says you are her mentor and a mentor to countless athletes and administrators. Netball is richer because of your selfless contributions. Also coming in from your fellow netball, Rufina Paul. Kathy, on behalf of the Caribbean netball family, sincere congratulations and job well done. Your efforts have contributed to the development of netball in the region, and you are still contributing. Now tell us about that contribution, Kathy. What is your vision? You would have been president of the Caribbean Netball Association for some 20 years. How big of a part has netball played in your life?
Oh, netball has played a significant role in my life. Actually, I started my journey with Caribbean netball in 1972 when Lester Lewis called me from St. Kitts and said to me, "We are in the process of putting together an umpires committee for the Caribbean, and we have put you on this umpires committee." And I said, "Why me?" She said, why not you?" And without hearing me say whether I said yes or no, I was on this committee. I just received a message shortly after that, giving me the names of the other persons on the committee. I have been serving Caribbean netball since then. And then in 1984, I was elected second vice president in Dominica. And since then, since 1984, when I was elected second vice president, I have been on the executive in all kinds of positions. I was secretary treasurer when there was secretary treasurer. Then I was secretary when the positions were separated. I was vice president. And then in 1996, the outgoing president from Antigua, Yvette Francis, said to me, "I am going out and there's no other person I would like to run for this position but you." And I said, "What if the Caribbean doesn't want me?" She said, "I know they want you." And so I was elected president in 1996 and served for 20 years. No, netball has made me, I think, even more so than any other sport, netball has made me the person I am. I have had many challenges. I have had many problems that I have had to solve across the region. I have worked with the Barbados Netball Association, was a founding member of that organization. And really, for me, I can really attribute most of my personal development to netball. The first time that I was ever allowed to go to an international Congress, it was through netball. And that was in New Zealand. The first one was in Florida in 1995. And then I went to about 3 or 4 other international congresses after that. So the boxing international congresses came afterwards. But netball gave me a lot of that type of international exposure. And strange enough, just about a couple of days ago, I got a call from a former president of the South Africa Netball Association, and Ntambe, and I was so surprised when Ntambe called me and said, "Kathy, I have not heard from you for so long. I need to hear your voice." And I said to myself, this is what netball has done for me. So really, really, Marcia, netball has been one of the molding factors of my life.
And the congratulations still come in from the netball family. We have Pauline David Fort from Guyana offering her congratulations, as well as we have Doris McIntosh. She's offering her congratulations on behalf of the St. Vincent and the Grenadines Netball Association. Your grandson has also popped in to offer his congratulations. Congratulations, Mom. You've always been my icon. You are truly an inspiration. I appreciate everything you've done for the betterment of the world. I love you, and I am proud to be your grandson. Now, as a woman operating in sport, how difficult is it balancing your various sporting roles and that family life?
Oh, that's easy. That's very easy. Despite my love for sport, family comes first. And I adore my 17 grandchildren and my 10 great grandchildren. I don't see them every day. I don't talk to them every day, but they're in my mind every day. They're in my life every day. And so my family means a lot to me. My siblings, my parents had 12 of us. And of the 12 of us, 6 have passed, and there are 6 of us left, and we are so tight. The 6 of us are so tight. Although we are in different places, in different countries, we talk to each other very often. A family means a lot to me. So sport never, ever detracts from my family relationships. My children, my daughter Marlene, who lives in the house with me, she's more like my little sister now than my daughter. And as I said before, she's my mentor. So we have been very, very close. So Marcia, family comes first.
Indeed. Some other congratulatory messages coming in from across the region. We have Catherine Ford from Trinidad and Tobago. She's currently the Vice President of TAFISA, offering her congratulations, as well as some younger regional administrators in sports. Chernelle Shallery, she's offering congratulations. She runs the Supporting Girls in Sports blog and platform. And she says, "Thank you for your service and contribution to sport. You are an inspiration." As well as Soraya Toppin Herbert, another young aspiring administrator. "Congratulations, Mrs. Harper Hall. You are an inspiration, that is, to young people and administrators in sport." Now, Mrs. Harper Hall, as we move to the end of this question and answer section, I would like you to just run your journey, and what would you consider to be your most memorable moment throughout it all, and why?
Oh, my most memorable moment. There are so many memorable moments that I have that I'm not sure which one I should consider to be my most memorable. But I think when I look back on my life, if you talk about my most memorable moment in sport, I have to think about the time where that first time when I went to the senior games in Utah, and I heard this announcer said, 100 meters men, 95 to 100. And this was our first time in there. And we looked around at each other and said, what are we hearing? And then when I looked out there and I saw a line of, all 8 lanes were taken up with men 95 to 100. And about 4 of them were using starting blocks. And I had to rush out there and take a picture. And that was on that was my screensaver for years. And that for me was a most memorable occasion to see men 95 to 100. And at that same championships, There was a relay team made up of 4 women, 4 sisters. One was 78, one was 80, one was 82, and one was 84. And they're 4 sisters, and they were a relay team. So those are my most memorable moments in sports.
And I'm very glad you reflected on your senior game sojourn. For someone like me, I always joke with my friends that I'm going to make my debut at 45 at the national senior games level. But what tips would you have, or what advice would you have for persons looking to stay in shape? Not necessarily to be competitive or compete at the highest level, but just to remain active even though they might be, a bit older in life.
First of all, see it as a health thing. See it as taking care of your health. Before you think about it for any other reason, think about it for your health. For those those of us who are older, I would say think about aging actively. For younger people, I think about preparing yourself to age actively. And bear in mind that being involved in sport is not only about competition, it is about participation and the joy and the fun that you get of being out there and just simply participating. It has really been an exciting experience, and I would encourage everyone to get involved. Age is just a number, and it is whatever you consider that number to be. That is your thought on it. But for me, age is just a number. And so get out there. And Marcia, I would suggest that you start training so that if and when senior games come back, you'll be ready.
Definitely. I promise you I'm going to make my debut as a quarter miler, if nothing else. So the regional congratulations continue to come in, Ms. Harper Hall. We have greetings from Martinique, from Dominica, from Grenada. You've truly made your impact throughout the region, and we salute you here this evening. But ladies and gentlemen, we are going to bring our Q&A session to a close, offering congratulations to you, Ms. Harper Hall, once again. And as we approach the end of this evening's presentation, I want to invite Ms. Itanya Wiggins once again. She's the chair of the Women in Sport Commission, to give us the vote of thanks. While we get Itanya there sorted out, we have some more congratulatory messages that we can read for you from Netball St. Lucia obviously over there in St. Lucia, as well as from our friends here at the Barbados Olympic Association. I'm seeing congratulatory messages from President Mrs. Sandra Osborne, Mr. Ryan Brathwaite. We have congratulatory messages coming in from Martinique as well, from Marie-Line Doyen. So now that we have Itanya ready to go with us, Itanya, you can go right ahead with the vote of thanks.
All right, thank you once again, Marcia, like the second time. If your actions create a legacy that inspires others to dream more, learn more, do more, and become more, then you are an exceptional leader. Good evening once again to everyone, and thank you for joining us live. Wow, what an inspirational evening. On behalf of the Barbados Olympic Association, I, with Itanya Wiggins as chair of the Women in Sport Commission, deem it a great honor and privilege to deliver the vote of thanks to all the persons who made this event possible. I would just like to take a minute to thank them all. Firstly, to our specially invited guests, the Honorable Ms. Cynthia Ford, Minister of People Empowerment and Elderly Affairs, the Honorable Mr. Dwight Sutherland, Minister of Youth, Sports and Community Empowerment, Mrs. Patricia Boyce, Director, Bureau of Gender Affairs, Mr. Stephen Rowe, Sport Development Officer in the Ministry of Youth, Sport and Community Empowerment, Mr. Stephen Stout, immediate past President of the Barbados Olympic Association, or Barbados Olympic Association Executive Board members. Thank you for joining us this evening as we celebrate one of our female stalwarts in sports, Madam President Ms. Sandra Osborne. Thank you for your leadership and shared vision and how sport reminds us or remains one of the most powerful platforms for promoting not only women and girls, but for empowering young people in general. Miss Esther Maynard, yes, we know who is who, but we love you both. Your tribute took us on a journey of the true impact Miss Harper Hall has had on sports. Your friendship and support shared between you two is evident and is a testament to the good things that can happen when women support each other. There is power in the pack. To those persons who offered congratulatory remarks, they were a fitting tribute to the legacy set by our awardee, Mr. Neil Murrow. Yes, you are there in spirit, and yes, your passion has resonated with Miss Harper Hall. Miss Annette Beckett, you are so right. She has already asked for the recording of the evening to be sent to her as well. Miss Akila Jones, wow. You were not kidding about those medals. And yes, your English was exemplary. I'm sure Miss Harper Hall would be proud. Miss Kimberly Gittins, Miss Harper Hall is indeed a queen who has always given us 100%, just like I know you will. An event like this could not have happened overnight. The wheels of this event started rolling weeks ago when the commission had to pivot to make our 2021 PANS COVID ready. The event required even more intense planning and a bird's eye view for detail. So I want to send a special thanks to our National Olympic Committee staff, Gail, Paula, and Ryan, for your behind-the-scenes contribution, and to the motivated and dedicated members of our Women in Sport Commission for their involvement and their willingness to take on the delivery of any task bestowed upon them, even when beyond their comfort zones. And finally, to our Icon Awardee 2021, Ms. Kathy Harper Hall. Ms. Harper Hall, thank you very much for your continued support and contribution to the development of women and girls in sport. We're all inspired by your great work and your inspirational words. We thank you and good night.